You made it here today.
Do you know I actually drove incorrectly. I made a wrong turn.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was one of those mornings. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Candice.
And welcome to Don't Start.
And as we like to say, don't start.
Candice, save it for the show.
Exactly. So let's get to it. My mom used to say this thing growing up. She used to be like, the car just goes, Candice. Like when we'd go somewhere, like the same place every day, whether it was school or the store, she'd be like, the car knows what to do. And I always had this moment as an adult when I'm driving where I'm like,
scary.
I always make a right. I always make a right, let's say at this light, this particular light. And if I all of a sudden make a left to go a different way, I'm like so screwed up. I'm like, I can't go back now.
I had that moment this morning. And maybe it was that I did not have enough coffee this morning.
I'm sure you did.
But also, like, what is it? Like the automatic driving cars, like a Tesla? That's what your mom maybe needs.
Honestly, that would be terrifying, giving that to my mother.
Have you been in one of the taxis that doesn't have a driver?
No, but a friend of mine posted a video. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could do it.
No, I can't.
I can't do it.
I don't want to.
How
about that? I like that people have that as a job.
It's exactly. It's also very Total Recall. Remember that movie growing up? I wasn't allowed to watch it because the boobs came out. And my mom's like, you can't watch it. There's a woman with 3 boobs in it.
3 boobs?
Remember? Doesn't she have like 3 boobs?
I've never watched it.
Oh, you got to watch it. But he gets in a taxi and it's a little robot man who starts driving them around. And I'm like, this is us now.
It is us now.
But it's not even a robot man now. Now no one's sitting in the front seat.
So how do you feel about a lot of firing happening right now? Because a lot of things are going to go AI. And we're not just talking like robots lifting factory things. It's like white collar.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, every day on Deadline or something, there's some sort of like reveal of how many people are getting fired, Amazon, Paramount, all these things, right, in our faces.
That's exactly it.
It's a lot.
I just want humans to always have jobs and purpose. But we get lackadaisical. We get a little, computers make things a little easier.
They do. And I will say, I do love the amount of knowledge we've gotten from social media and computers and things where it's like, hey, now we know this. For instance, like I follow a few doctors on Instagram who will post things about health stuff. And I'm like, we would never know this.
Listen to this. I was talking about it with Chad today, and he knew it too. China says you cannot be an influencer unless you have the education and certification in that field.
I love that.
Me too.
That's really cool.
And that's what I've been saying from the beginning of influencer life.
That's really cool.
Is that why are we assuming these people have the information? I've talked to you about when I did a keynote speaker engagement for a PR association. I said, I am not an expert.
Yeah.
I do not have my doctorate in my field, but I do have my master's. Yeah. But this isn't just my story. Yeah. And I'll tell you what I learned, and maybe you could take some information from my experience. But acknowledge that you and I both do this.
I say it all the time. I'm not an expert, but here's what I learned.
But I've learned things through
I think love that.
Emphasizing that online is so important. However, we do have an incredible expert with us today.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I love, we have Aimee Raupp today. Aimee Raupp, Aimee and I go back, 7 years now. She is an expert on a lot of things, but she also is the first woman that I've ever met in my life to be like, what feels right for you physically? And it's all about physical health. And I never connected my expertise in my own body because I'm always saying, doctor, tell me. Like I grew up like that, which is, I think, the norm in a common way of growing up. And my mom was always like, well, what did the doctor say? And I'm like, well, maybe I should understand what I feel.
But that generation
yes,
loves their doctors. Yeah. My mother talks about her doctors.
Yes. We love doctors, but
we definitely do. But they are like, they talk about it with everybody. Yes. Like, oh, this. And my mom's whole family goes to the same doctor that they all love.
Yes.
And if they can find a better doctor, they can't wait to talk about that new better doctor.
It's so true, though. And I think what Aimee taught me is doctors are great, but there's another piece to the puzzle, and that's you. All right, little info about Aimee here. So Aimee is a best-selling author, a fertility expert. We also call her a fertility detective. She's a passionate advocate for women's health. She's known for being someone who literally digs to find out why you feel this way, whatever way it is. Yeah. For over 20 years, she's been helping women around the world get pregnant naturally. She's also improved their fertility outcomes. She helps us feel empowered in our bodies for just plain old health reasons. Like, it's not just about getting pregnant.
Which that is so important because I think they say that women actually will allow a pain to go longer than a man before they go to the ER, before they go to the emergency room. And maybe that's based off of, and we'll get into this.
Yeah.
You know, we go through menstrual cramps since we're like 12, 13 years old, 100%. That we're just like, we're fine. Yep. So when it comes to heart disease, all of these things, women say, I'm fine before they go and take action.
It's 100%. And she also, I'll give you some little, I'm calling it factoids. She has her undergrad in biology and chemistry. She's followed. I know.
We like
Here we go. She's a graduate level in studies of neuroscience, biochemistry, nutrition, and traditional Chinese medicine. She is a fabulous acupuncturist who I went to for many years.
Oh, I was thinking about doing that.
She's so good. You got to go to Aimee.
Canceled it.
No, she's phenomenal. She's also the author of 4 books on women's health and fertility. She wrote Yes, You Can Get Pregnant, The Egg Quality Diet,
She's
Body Belief. She wrote Chill Out and Get Healthy.
Chill out.
I just love her.
It's hard to chill out.
And her thing too is like you can be you're like chronicle.
You love her.
Oh, I love her. I do love her because she taught me like, oh my God, just because my number of my age says this, the health inside my body can be 20 years younger. Like she would always say to me, what's your chronological age? Yeah. And what's your health age? And I'm like, oh God, like what's your inside? I don't know.
God, I can keep talking about this. I better take off my slouchy cap and like pull it together.
No, your slouchy cap looks good. Let's bring in Aimee. We love Aimee.
Hi, how are you? I love that you guys are doing this. I'm so excited for you.
Oh my God, we are so excited to have you here. I miss you. I miss seeing your face.
I know, but I'm going to see you, I think, next or whatever.
Yes.
And I'm excited to meet you.
Hi. It's
really a pleasure. Candice has spoken so highly about you.
Yeah, she's probably sick of hearing about you.
I just wanted to meet you in person and pick your brain, your brilliant brain.
I'm just excited. Thank you guys. And I might have to pick your brain about podcasts.
I told her I said, you need a podcast.
Yeah.
She has so much information. Aimee, I don't want to say let's start from the beginning because who are we kidding? But let's start from somewhat at the beginning. I would love for you to give our listeners just a little glimpse into how it became for you to be this fertility detective, health detective for women. Was it always in your gut to be like, this is what I'm going to do with my life? Or did it just unfold that way?
It just unfolded that way. It was never, I always just wanted to be a general practitioner. And I think just women were the ones who were mainly seeing me. And then it evolved into women with hormone issues, menstrual health issues, women trying to get pregnant. And I mean, you know me because we've worked together, but my brain is, I'm very scientific. I have a scientific background, and I think I got hooked on this like very positive, substantiated end result of pregnancy, where it's like it's either happening or it's not.
Sure.
And a little hooked on seeing the shifts, and so it just became what my passion is now, and has been for probably 15 years, I'd say. But in the beginning, no, it wasn't my plan.
What was the plan?
General practice, be an acupuncturist and herbalist, hang my shingle somewhere, as they would say, and just have a practice. And, I don't know. I think when I moved into New York City, like originally I wasn't living in the city. When I moved into the city, the clients I started seeing, everybody was in like PR or publishing or magazines, that kind of thing. It started to, I've always been, one who likes to, be in the public eye. I've always like performed and, was a gymnast for a long time and a dancer. And like, that stage presence has always kind of been a thing for me, and also always been a nerd. And so anyway, it just kind of like these things came together. And one of my patients years ago, still in the mix, said to me, I said something like, I want to become an expert. She was a publicist. She still has a PR firm that's very successful. And I said, how do I become like the expert for this magazine? It was like Self magazine. I was like, I want to be one of your experts. I want to be one of the experts. And she was like, you have to write a book. And I said, don't you become the expert and then write the book? And she goes, you write the book and that makes you the expert. And I was like, no. So I was like, and it just happened. Like another patient of mine was in publishing. So I was like, Sloan, she's been my editor still all these years. I was like, Sloan, I want to write a book. And she was like, all right, let's start. We bartered for acupuncture. She helped me write my first book proposal. And things really changed at that point. And that was 2009. And then ever since then, I kind of, it all shifted and here we are.
And we told our viewers before, viewers, like we're on TV right now, we told our listeners before we had you jump on that you've written 4 books. That blows my mind that, I mean, you're probably writing more, but just to sit down and I'm writing 1 and I feel like it's taking my soul, but literally that you've written 4. And they've all sort of had this underlining theme, which is, oh gosh, I don't want to say get healthy, but it's this underlining theme of health first, and then everything else will follow. And that's something you really taught me. And I was telling Sarah, like, doctors are important, but they're not the whole piece of the pie. That's what I got from you is the big, I mean, I got so many things from you, but the biggest thing that I learned with working with you is, oh, my opinion matters and how I feel matters. And I actually have some empowerment and control here. How often do you see a patient or a client come in who's either struggling to get pregnant or struggling with inflammation, not understanding, and you have to really retrain their brain to trust themselves?
But also, before you say that, you just said something emphasizing inflammation. Let's talk about
I know Sarah was like,
let's give it to you as the expert. What is something that is standing out with inflammation if people don't understand what a problem that is?
I mean, I think it's impacting everyone, right? And I think it's also a very, blanket word that can often be also misused, maybe. But yeah, I mean, inflammation is the body's reaction to something that it's not agreeing with. And that could be an emotional state, that could be a physical state, that could be a dietary thing, that could be a relationship, right? So I often am retraining brains. I mean, I think about times with you on the table where it was like, is this ever going to happen for me, Aimee? My time is up. And I always, I just stand firm. I always joke with my clients too, like, I'll sit over here in my optimistic corner. You can come and join me when you're ready, but you don't have to.
Oh my gosh. I've been trying to train my brain to be more optimistic.
And it's hard. Like, I also think, like, in that there's a caveat. Like, I am not a pusher, and Candice can speak for this, of, you have to think it before, like, fake it. Like, I don't know. I'm not a pusher. Like, I think all feelings are important. We should feel all feelings. And we have to honor, like, what, you were going through, Candice, and I'd been a part of that journey, I think, for quite some time, was really hard. And it's really easy to doubt yourself, especially when doctor after doctor after doctor and society after society, like, every single person is telling you you're too old, your eggs are all bad. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. Like, you're give up, move on. And for me, it's like, but I've been doing this for 20 years and I see it work more than I don't see it work. In fact, I see it work like 80-ish% of the time. Do you know what I mean? So to me, I'm like, why wouldn't you have faith? Like, I just think we have to kind of keep dialing it in and keep nailing it down. And you're a perfect example. When you started the diet and the nutrition supplements, I remember you telling me, like, you like shrunk, like inflammation just like left your body. You were so much less swollen.
That's the thing. When I started working with Aimee, it was, yes, to get pregnant, but it was also more like, I don't feel good.
Right.
Help me. And she was like, bigger picture here, Candice. Follow my diet. In Aimee's book, she has diets like mapped out for you.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how crappy I was eating. Even though I was eating food that I was making, I wasn't making the right kinds of food, the right choices, the amount of protein. Can you just give us some example? I mean, her meals, I follow her on social media.
I was just talking to Chad yesterday. Why does everybody keep pushing protein? I think Starbucks just came out with a protein drink.
Yes,
that's exactly.
Yeah, and be careful because it's going to be highly synthetic protein. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it drives me crazy. Like, just eat real food, people. Yeah, and it's probably loaded with sugar too. Like, I think if there's one, there's a handful of places I would avoid, but Starbucks would be one of them. I mean, there's things you can pick, like get the hard-boiled eggs, get a cup of tea with nothing added. You know what I mean? Sometimes I get their cappuccino with their full-fat milk if I'm like in a mode, but their coffee's not organic. I mean, other things. But so I think it's most people don't understand, like, especially like when I get a woman, most of my women come to me, they're in their late 30s or their early 40s. They have been, my area of expertise is helping women get pregnant. So they've been struggling to get pregnant / have hormonal issues, have some sort of low-lying autoimmune or thyroid condition, possibly have endometriosis. 50% of unexplained infertility is actually endometriosis. It's just the doctors are trained, you just push them to IVF, just push them to IVF. It doesn't matter. That's not true. It's a systemic inflammatory condition. It has to be addressed. It's impacting egg quality. It's impacting uterine environment, right? So, but when they come to me, it's, I put on my Chinese medicine hat, I would say. And then that's where I'm like really good with my diagnostic tools and my intuition of like going through, like, how are you pooping? How are you sleeping? Like, how's your period when it comes? What's your PMS like? Like, what's your sex drive? What are you eating? And most women are like, oh, I eat healthy. And then I dial it in and they're having like I will leave labels off, but they're having like a low fat yogurt that's loaded with sugar for breakfast. You know what I mean? Or like oatmeal, like even, these kind of, quick fix oatmeal cups or something like that. It's like there's zero protein, or if any, loaded with sugar, artificial sweeteners. And so just trying to change them to consuming real food, and then also, helping them identify the trigger foods. Everyone has different trigger foods. And I don't always think it's gluten, dairy. And so a lot of the times it is, unfortunately, but that's not always the case. And I'm not always like anti-seed oils in the sense of like, it's just like, let's just look at kind of the overall quality of what we're consuming, how much we're consuming, how often we're consuming. It really impacts hormones. I mean, even all this talk of perimenopause, I think the number one thing I do is basically maximize hormones in perimenopause. That's how I help women get pregnant in their 40s. It's exactly what I'm doing.
Well, Aimee, I can't wait to come to see you first and foremost. But second, why do you think 50% of women are suffering from endometriosis?
This is
I mean, my first guess, but it's not really a guess, is the environmental toxins, endocrine disrupting chemicals, environmental toxins. Since the 80s, we've introduced over 100,000 chemicals to our environment, and most all of them are endocrine disrupting chemicals, and a lot of them are xenoestrogens, so they mimic estrogen in the body. And women, a lot of women with endometriosis, there's a genetic predisposition, so you may or may not get it, but the lifestyle that we are currently leading is allowing it to grow. And then once endometriosis grows, it literally creates its own estrogen source, its own nerve roots. I mean, it's insane.
I mean, that's what you taught me.
It's like that's
what I was learning when I was saying,
over.
Like, go get this blood work regularly. And we'd find out my estrogen was through the roof. And there were things that I was doing that Aimee had to teach me, like, don't do that. Like, this is so basic, but here's my most basic thing. I'm going to admit it, would drink out of a plastic water bottle that was sitting in my car from the day before or the morning of, and it was warm. And I was like, I just need something to drink. Now there's all that, those little
parabens and phthalates. So fragrance, anything that you have that has fragrance that's not from an essential oil is doing damage. And I always say it's consistency and frequency. So like, we're all human, right? Like, you guys had your photo shoot recently. I have one on Monday for my new book. Like, am I going to use all non-toxic hair products and makeup? No, I'm going to use the real stuff because it works for the camera. Do you know what I mean? But like, do I do that every day? No, like, that's the thing. So I try to teach my clients to live like a normal life, especially like going through a major health challenge and constantly being like, hitting obstacle after obstacle. It's really hard to then put them into like more deprivation or kind of this feeling of suffering. So it's like, I always say like the 80-20 rule, like, will get us there. It's consistency and frequency that gets us there. It's not these one-offs. Like, I remember it was like your Easter or something and you had like your Italian. I was like, go for it. I want you to enjoy yourself. Like, don't overthink it.
You were like, go drink that wine.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like when it becomes too much of like this addictive kind of behavior, that becomes shame if you're not doing it right. Right. You're like, wait, I'm trying my best to live the best way I can healthy for that. Yeah. But we have to be more conscious in every choice that we're doing.
It's so true. And I think, do you have a question? Because I don't want you.
I just want to know, I am so grateful for all the incredible work you've done with women's health, because I'll never forget hearing when doctors always study thing on men because women's health, women's bodies are inconsistent because of our menstruation. And I laughed so hard because I said that inconsistency is our consistent. Get it right. And like, that's the stuff that infuriates me. And I'm grateful for you working so hard to do this for the entire female race.
I feel like
and it's great to see, I mean, it's also fascinating. I mean, to quick on the research of, the original theory about women running out of eggs as they get older, this fertility cliff after the age of 35. The original research was done on ovaries from rhesus monkeys and rats. And it was done in the 1960s. They literally just sliced, from animals under a microscope, looked at like a timeline and was like, oh, well, clearly women run out of eggs. No one looked at that research again for 40 flipping years. Wow. And then when they did, they realized, oh, this isn't the whole picture. There's actually there's this, kind of on and off switch going on. Sure, like decline happens, but it's not this cliff. It's kind of this slow decline happening over time. And then now the latest research coming out too, looking literally, why did it take this long? Why 2024 did we decide to map an actual human ovary and actually see, oh, the nervous system is involved. It's got its own ecosystem. It's literally of course, like Chinese medicine, we've always been talking about it. And honestly, what I see is of course, the brain communicates with the ovaries. That's how the hormones all work. We should know that. Of course, there's this whole ecosystem. Why is it taking so long? And then we're also now learning, our mitochondrial DNA ages differently than men's do. And we have this protective mechanism around our eggs. None of this has been researched. And I think the reason it just was well, IVF was created. Let's just do IVF. Here's all the meds to take. No need to dig deeper. Why should we dig deeper? It's fine. It's fine. And now I think it's just, empowerment and more women with money who are investing it into research. And now we're actually shaking things up, which I'm really excited to watch and be on the forefront of.
But there's also people, there's people like you, Aimee, who someone like me comes to you, and unfortunately, I don't want to say you see women at the end of their rope, but you do see a lot of women sort of last resort, because it's like, okay, I've tried everything else. Let's try the magician. And you're sort of the magician to me in some way, because you sat me down in particular and was like, diet? Yes. Okay, let's look at that. Let's look at your mental health. Let's look at your husband's mental health and diet. And she even looked at, Tom and I did the diet together. And all of a sudden he lost some weight. He felt better. We each felt energized, all these little things. And yes, I started producing healthier eggs. I was still on the IVF track. Aimee walked me through, exactly, how to, I would say, approach the next IVF round. And it never really worked for me, but it was the idea that we weren't looking at this as this is all you have left. There's no more eggs left. Just kept saying you have so much time. And I just want to applaud. You have something called the story of hope. She puts up stories of hope of women that are now at I should say, on the other side. And I would watch those on Instagram. I'd go to your website and I would cry, of course, but I would also be so inspired, because I was like, okay, if she's 47 and she did it, I got tons of time. Because when you go see a doctor, you don't feel like you have tons of time. No. It always feels like right now, or you missed the boat. And I just love that you do that story of hope. Can you give us one or two examples of a story of hope that really shocked you in all of your years of doing this? You have so many, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah. I think, it's, I guess for me too, some of it is, I've had girls, sure, I can think of one right now, premature ovarian failure. She was in her 30s, early 30s, a medical doctor, which I also always find those cases, I get a lot of doctors as clients, which is a huge compliment, but also highlights the huge gaping hole that we have in the system. Medical doctor, in her residency, her FSH was through the roof, and they were like, this is premature menopause. She hadn't had a period, I don't know, 9 months, 10 months, hot flashes, all the things. Literally the presentation was here, and she started working with me. She was doing a lot of mindset work as well, and was just, determined in this, every woman I work with, I would say, is very determined. They're broken, but they're determined. And we did all the things. We did all the things we do. And I never met her once in life. Everything was virtual coaching and diet, supplements, lifestyle, getting her to cook. She was skipping meals, other things. Her periods came back. Her FSH came down. And I think it was, month 4 of her period coming back. She got pregnant naturally. And had that baby. And, I think her FSH was literally in the hundreds, clearly menopausal, if you will. And yet it was, I would, I would venture to say it was all nervous system. It was just like medical school's hard, residency's hard. You're working, you're literally like in the hospital 24/7, so you don't have many options. And so also retraining her and from a medical establishment, like also like her thyroid, no one had checked her thyroid. No one had checked her vitamin D. Her TSH was high. So that's also what I would say is like, I'm very holistic. Of course I am. But I also, because of my biology and chemistry and neuroscience background, I always am bringing in the Western, and I feel like, help people find the right doctors to work with, not the wrong ones, because there's a lot of ones that aren't the right fit. Looking at the labs, like understanding the labs, dialing it in, but that case still gets me. And then sure, we've had women 47, 48, do it. And naturally, that's also, but every story gets me, to be honest, because, and I could cry saying this, it's just like you said, when women come to me, they are at the end of their rope and they are broken. And it's an honor. It's an honor to like stand by their side and help navigate this with them, and to then and then it's such an honor that you guys come back to me and you're like, yeah, put me on your YouTube channel and I want to tell the world. You know what I mean? I'm like, are you serious? And they got the baby and they're just like, yeah, it's such a great story.
I am going to be a story of hope, because every time we would meet.
And everyone says that to me. That's like now the thing. Right. They're like, I can't wait for my story of hope. Like that's always their thing. And it's so sweet.
Aimee, on the other side of things, I am a woman that is not a mother quite yet, but is going through this journey. And and I think so much of society has thrust this on us that I'm 42 and you're like, oh, the door's closing.
Here we go.
When we
hurry up.
When I talk to you about being optimistic, sometimes I try to set myself to be realistic, but the realism that they're feeding us is defeating that hope. So I already have done the puzzle math in my head of like, well, if I'm not a mother, then I'm a great aunt, because I'm trying to prepare myself.
Yeah, that's a defense mechanism.
Words like perimenopausal make me stressed out, and then every month you feel like, oh, I lost again. Not like lost.
No, you did. Like every 2-week wait is the longest 2 weeks of your life, when you're trying and you want it. Yeah, it's hard.
So that head game in itself, trying to, and I think this is something, as you came on, you talked about meditation, but trying to retrain your brain that could flow right down into your nervous system, into your ovary, into the mindset, into your gut, to just create positive health in your body. I mean,
in Chinese medicine, we have a vessel that is non-existent. It's energetic. It's called the baomai. It connects the heart to the uterus. And to us, it's all about like the heart it houses the anxiety for sure, but it also houses the spirit. And so, the more connected you are to the spirit, to your truth, to your like, I guess trusting your body, kind of the stronger this vessel is, and kind of the more, I always think like trauma just kind of like slices the vessel, and then we got to kind of like unpack and work through that trauma. What we see in Western medicine, and even now with this new research out of UCSF, which is fascinating, is like, oh, clearly the nervous system 100% impacts ovarian health. Like we can see it literally, like when you're in fight or flight, it literally downregulates, it like pushes follicles aside, literally downregulates, so. But again, like to force yourself to think positive, I think there's a loop in there too. One of my spiritual teacher always says, the universe hears how you feel, not what you say. So it's like, I think it's also important to not like shove optimism, but to more be like, okay, yes, I'm 42. Sure, I could see how the odds aren't the same for me as they were when I was 32. However, plenty of women my age do this. I'm going to do all the things I can possibly do because that's what's going to make me feel like the most peace, right? And so I'm going to show up as my best self. And plenty of women in their 40s do it. And so even if I'm running out of eggs or my eggs are declining, like the largest research paper of its kind looked at 20,000 eggs. The average age of the woman was 38, but it went up to 44. And they came up with like a new fertile cliff graph, which was very different than the original fertile cliff graph. And it's a slow decline. And so even in your early 40s, that research paper showed about 40% of your eggs are still chromosomally normal. They actually looked not at embryos, they looked at eggs. 40% of your eggs actually have all the right chromosomes. And then I know you guys had Murhi on, he does this really amazing analogy where he's like, it's the whites, it's not the yolk.
Yeah,
the yolk
we didn't have him on yet, going to, but
okay.
He does do that. You're right. And he was the one who taught us, you still have 1,000 eggs left. Yeah. Even when you're in
women in menopause still have 1,000 eggs left. We know that now scientifically. So this whole you're running out of eggs, or is this video? It's seriously shove it. And I'm going to do a stitch on this one. I saw one doctor was like, don't take 6 months off to work on diet and supplements. There's no evidence that it helps with egg quality. And I was like, are you not reading? Are you purposely not reading the research? Because it's there. There's a lot of research. But there's a lot you can do. And I think it does come back to circling this back to inflammation and emotional. I talk a lot about in my book, Body Belief, emotional inflammation, physical inflammation. There's a lot. Boundaries, I think, are a huge piece of it. And I do think the spiritual connection, that's such a Chinese medicine thing, but are we open to receiving? Are we, are we in a space of trust and belief?
I know.
It's just a beautiful way. What makes me also happy about you is, bringing in the spirit plus the medical background.
That's what I love about it.
I think it's so much of how I want to live too.
That's it. And how you want to raise these
science,
people, honestly.
The belief in the research and science, but also have the faith and the spirit, and how those connect.
Yes. And that
in harmony in the way that you're saying.
And what you're saying, Sarah, exactly is what Aimee taught me. And actually I bring into motherhood that I never thought I would, because I wouldn't before this, before Aimee and all this. I wouldn't have raised my son the way I'm raising him now. So thank you, Aimee. I'm going to cry, but I'm not going to cry. But I do want to, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just want to, thank you.
Can we keep talking for 2 hours?
I know we can bring you back again.
You can have me back. And Sarah, I'm yours, whatever you need, you know that too.
Tell us, first of all, Aimee does have a beauty line. Aimee has a ton of books, but you have a new book coming out, or can you not say yet?
So I just revised Yes, You Can Get Pregnant, which was my first fertility book that I wrote in 2015. It came out. It was the 10-year anniversary last year. And, I'm honored to say it still sells really well. And so the publishing house reached out and asked me to do a 10-year revision, which was really fun. It's a lot. It was a lot. I doubled the volume of the book. Basically, I kind of got in trouble with my editor, but it's fine. I put in a chapter with Murhi, so many great interviews with so many great doctors over the years, like Vidali, and all the people that I think really raise this medicine up to the next level. More research on nutrition and lifestyle. So that'll be out in hopefully March or April of 26.
Oh my God, that's so
And
wonderful.
before you leave, what is your best advice, the number one thing you would say to women, to not just fertility, but just to have good health in general?
Yeah, I think it's a question you should ask yourself regularly, daily. How am I nourishing and supporting you, meaning me? You're talking to you. What can I do to support you today? Am I giving you everything you need? And really just stopping and taking the time. What does nourishment look like? What does that mean? Sure, I think it means getting enough protein, but I also think it means doing things that light you up, surrounding yourself with people that feel really flipping good versus, and having healthy boundaries towards the ones that are that's too much for me right now. Thank you so much. But I think that's it. It's just lead. And I guess another thing to think about along the same lines is and I say this a lot to my clients, of you're giving it all away. You're not keeping anything for yourself. Stop doing that. Stop giving it all away.
You hit me in my core. I got emotional on that one.
Don't give it all away. It's tough.
It's but also what signal are we sending to these little people that want to come through? I'm just going to give all my energy all away, and then when you come, I don't know if there's going to be a lot left, So thinking about that, and I don't know. And if you are looking to build a family, I think it's going through your life. How would I handle that situation if I have a little one at home? Almost put those boundaries in place now.
Yeah.
Oh God, Aimee, you're such a light. We love you. I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And bravo to you two for doing this. Thank you guys. Spreading the good word of womanhood and support and all the things. So thank you.
Of course, we're going to share all your Instagrams and websites on all the bull crap, but we're going to do it because I want everyone to know that you exist and that you are out there, and there's a way to get to someone like you, which is such a light. I love you. Thank you for today.
And we'll talk soon.
We'll talk soon. We'll talk soon.
We're going to connect.
We'll talk soon. We'll make a baby. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. Bye. Mwah.
I really loved meeting her and hearing her perspective because it's very rare, but I get emotional because I feel seen.
Yeah.
And not just as a woman with my health, as a woman that believes in hope and faith, but has been discouraged by science, by society.
Oh, yeah.
That has been thrust upon us.
Yes.
And I mean in general, and I'm not just talking fertility, but
in general,
woman, you really feel.
Yeah. Oh, where are the tissues in this place?
Whether it's silenced or that you don't know, whatever it might be. But her perfect combination of her medical background, but also in Eastern medicine, thinking spirit. Yeah. How is my soul?
Yeah.
And I try to work on all those things and then sometimes fail, but come back and try to come back to it.
Yeah. You articulated that so well because so much of the piece of the puzzle that she kept teaching me, or the piece of the pie, is not just a doctor, not just a statistic. It's not just, you're eating right. It's all the things to be a fully fledged human, not about just getting pregnant. Like, she would say things to me where she's like, are we talking about getting pregnant here, Candice? Or are we talking about how you're going to live the next 60 years? And if you happen to have a child, what are you going to teach that little human? And I was like, oh, wow. Like, there was a lot I had to uncover as a person before anything could happen, because I was holding on to a lot of things, and, we all do, and things were happening to me and whatever it was. And, you put up these walls, and stage 3 endometriosis is a big fucking deal. And you don't realize it's a big deal until you're in it. And you're like, why am I developing this inflammation in this tissue? And why is it literally killing my eggs and my uterus? Why? And she would dig in with me, and she'd be like, it's not just the water bottle you drank in your car. It's also the way you just handled a situation with your family, or the way you let someone just speak to you and you didn't speak. All these things.
That's wild, right? To think what our body holds with emotion and how it affects us physically in our health. How much our emotions are connected to how our body is keeping itself fueled and moving and healthy.
Yeah.
I told you last time about the shaman healing, and I can't wait, because I think I went through a lot of trauma that one year, and then you still have weight from it, and you could feel it. Like I said, that first year I didn't feel healthy.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of emotion, and it felt heavy on me.
Yes.
But I think my happiness is her and her work she does.
She's amazing.
I just can't wait to actually set up a meeting.
I hope you do. But I will tell you this. I hope she does her podcast, because she's got so much knowledge. Yeah. And I didn't know she existed until 5 years into my journey. And then,
how did you find her?
Oh, it was through digging on social media I went to a few fertility.
Positive social media.
So there you go. So I did find her through social media eventually, but it wasn't, and also I found her, I read her book. Someone said to me in a fertility group that I belong to, they said, read this book. Yes, you can get pregnant. Oh, I did a lot.
And the thing that's cool for me is, just go with me, knowing how you were raised, Irish Catholic, and like we talked about earlier, is, you guys loving doctors, finding good doctors, go to the best, all that kind of stuff. Yes. But what was a moment that was revealing for me was when I admitted kind of embarrassed, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go to an energy healer. And you were like, oh, I did it. And I was like, that's what we were talking about in that with Aimee, is being open-minded.
She taught me that. I wasn't always, I'll be honest. I was not always.
But you hit a wall and you said, maybe I have to change my perspective.
Yeah, I hit a... Yes, Sarah, you're hitting it on the head. I hit a wall, and then she helped me open.
In life, we should do that more.
Like Tom would say to me with career stuff or life stuff, he would always make that joke where he's like, oh, got to change lanes. We're in the wrong lane for too long. Yes. And I'm like, change lanes. He's like, he's the type that he's just like changing, and he's very very introspective, outrospective in a wonderful way with people. He's an energy person in the sense that he can feel energies and know when things are wrong.
Very connected to energies.
Yes, I could be. I've gotten better because I've actually started to listen. And that's what she taught me. Yeah. She's like, listen, because you're getting so paranoid in your head that you're not listening to what's going on in here. And I was like, oh, wow, that opens a can of worms.
A frantic morning where I have like work calls me and I have to be somewhere. I had that with MSG that one time. Juno, my dog, will like have accidents in the house because it affects everything. Energy is terrifying.
It affects
because I'm a tornado, and like it just proves that she feels what is going on.
It's bananas.
I'm
does.
talking about a dog.
No,
but that's animalistic.
But it's still that human connection to another being, and it's like all of a sudden everything changes because you were having that sort of crazy morning or whatever. Right. I noticed it in my own relationship. I'm like, okay, I had a bad morning, and all of a sudden Tom's having a bad day, and I'm like, shit, that's my fault. I projected that out. I have to sort of.
Chad has very strong energy. So when Chad is not in a good place,
you feel it on your end. Isn't it crazy?
I said, I know there's something happening in your head right now because that energy is in the room.
Yeah, and it's hard to shut everything else out and then make decisions.
Yeah. So Chad if he has bad nightmares or dreams, I'll know it. Like that morning he wakes up and he's like, his dreams like affect him that much.
Anywho. That's our happiness. Aimee, we love you. Thank you for being with us.
Book an appointment.
Go book an appointment with Aimee. That's Aimee Raupp. You can't miss her on social media. She's also there. She has a beauty line that's amazing.
She's enlightening.
It's Aimee, AimeeRaupp.com. Thanks for joining us today.
You can follow us on Instagram at Don't Start Podcast.
Or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
And we'll see you next time, friends.
Don't Start is produced by Anthony Street Productions.